In 2023, the Newcastle Falcons have been flying under the radar. Sitting in 5th spot, Newcastle is always a tough matchup. Physical, bruising, and talented. Coming off back-to-back wins, they head to the Bear Cave to take on Norths. Welcome to 2 Fit in the Paint's NBL1 preview show. Garen, this is the matchup we've all been waiting for. The Newcastle Falcons travel down to Crow's Nest to take on the Norths Bears. The Falcons currently sitting in the 5th spot on the men's ladder, and a team that's definitely on the rise and a title contender. Meanwhile, the Norths Bears sitting in 3rd at the moment. Same can be said about them. They've been lethal this year. So we're going to preview the men's game first and take you through all the key players for this Falcons team. But before we do, Garen, let's check in how their day went last week against the Bankstown Bruins.
The grit and grind. They actually had to fight through that through all 4 quarters and narrowly getting a win. But his well-rounded game is with a cherry on top. Miles, 18 and 11 on the season and had a 27-20 game. 20-20 games are very rare in the NBL1 East, let alone in any league. And to be able to get 20 rebounds is impressive. I remember Lewis Hawley had 21 rebounds, but to get the 27 points, that's tough from all angles. Watch his highlights. It's insane. You know, the drives, the rip-throughs, the spot-up threes. He can do it from all angles. And it's going to be tough. So
yeah, they came up trumps there, Garen, 66-62 against the Bankstown Bruins. So you're right, a real grinded out kind of game. And then the next day, they left no doubt in the result, 95-76 against the Albury Wodonga Bandits, who are no slouch of a team, Garen. Miles Cherry coming to play again, 25 points, 16 rebounds on back-to-back days. I mean, must have been having the ice baths in between and maybe on the bus up. Ryan Beastie also chipped in as usual, 13 points, 9 rebounds.
Beastie boy.
Yeah, and Anthony Gaines, 20 points. But then you had players like Jaden Goodwin, Noah Shields, Malowach as well, throwing in 10, 12, 13 points. So that's
a well-balanced team. Yeah. But we spoke to other coaches around the league, and they're one of the slowest paced teams in the league. They like to play at their pace and their tempo. They really like to run that style of basketball. They play their starters a lot of minutes too, so their starters are enduring a lot of heavy minutes. And that's a system they like to run. And if you're opposing teams, you maybe want to try to push them out of their pace a little bit, maybe run a bit of small ball action. It'll be interesting, and it'll be interesting to see these heck of talent athletes go up against some of the greatest Norths athletes. So.
Yeah, because what it is, Garen, is they've got those 2 bigs, and one we're going to talk about here, Miles Cherry, who I mentioned earlier, had that mammoth game and averaging 15 points, 11 rebounds. Made that 18 points and 11 rebounds for the season. But Garen, he's doing that of 60% shooting, a lot of those high percentage post-ups, those catching the dunker spots, like just really a lethal weapon in the paint. Of course,
Weapon 3 out now in cinemas near you.
Yeah, I mean, apparently they're doing a reboot soon. Yeah,
okay.
And it's coming to the Bear Cave. So Miles Cherry definitely one to watch out for. And his favourite NBA player, Garen? Joe Ingles. So there you go, we're talking about that slow-mo offense. Originally from Newcastle as well, so Miles Cherry means so much to this Falcons team. Garen, another player to watch out for. We mentioned him a little earlier, had a great performance in both their games last weekend. We're talking about Ryan Beastie. What's he been like this season?
Yeah, he's also a pound-for-pound kind of player, bang for your buck, does it all, and he's going to be another player to watch out for. He's physical. He's slow, but he's physical, and he does the intangibles well. And that's what you want to see out of him. And they're coached well down in Newcastle, formerly the Hunters, now the Falcons. So second season in the NBL1 East, and boy, would it's been a treat to have him part of this league. Yeah, Ryan Beastie's been so important in both those seasons. Can obviously shoot as well, Garen, which is an underrated part of his game on those spot ups, those pick and pops as well, and had a massive game earlier this season, 34 points against Central Coast. So can really fill it up. I mean, he's got that NBL1 experience with the Southern Sabres in Victoria. So maybe Newcastle's second season in NBL1, but it's Ryan Beastie's 3rd season. But in his debut season this year, Garen, the import signing, Anthony Gaines, the small forward, I mean, out of Kingston, New York, I mean, he's been such an X-factor for this Newcastle team. Newcastle gains a lot with Anthony, and that's what you want to see. When your imports being aggressive from the go, fitting into this offense, fitting into this system here in Australia. It's interesting, there's a lot of imports. We had Sean Montague from Hills. We've had a lot of imports come and really transition well to this system. AJ Lawton back with the Crusaders. So a lot of imports coming back, and it's good to see Americans really fold into this Aussie system nice and well. They don't overshoot, they don't overdo it, and they really fit into teams well. So that's what coaches like to see. They don't want someone overdoing it, someone that can just slot in like Jolene Anderson did for our North Bears as well. So many Americans.
Yeah, it's great, and Blake Morrow as well.
It's a multi-diverse league. So.
Yeah, and as you're saying, Anthony Gaines has been fitting really well to that system. I mean, already averaging 14 points and 6 rebounds on the season. I mean, has that college experience as well at Siena. And was the captain of Siena in his time after transferring from Northwestern.
Yeah, from New York also.
Yeah, so there you go. So Anthony Gaines, I mean, if you don't know about him, you definitely know about him after the weekend. But he just joins a really well-rounded Newcastle squad. Talking, there's got great players there, like Jaden Goodwin as well. Tom Dawson's been there. Jacob Doricott off the bench.
Yeah, Doricott, I remember Doricott last year, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, hit a clutch shot just last weekend as well. So it's a really well-rounded squad, and you can see why they've had so much success in the 2023 season. Garen, final thoughts on Newcastle. What are the Bears going to have to do to beat them?
Well, it's going to be the approach, whether they go small or try to match up the intensity with the bigs. But I reckon they'll go small. Angus is the kind of coach that likes to experiment. So look to see him go small and really set their tempo and their offense at their home court. Down at the Bear Cave. Go check it out. It's going to be a great matchup. We need to get the grandstands filled.
Yeah, so come on, let's pack the Bear Cave.
Anyone in the area, just come down. It's a good weekend. If you don't want to watch it at the Bear Cave, go stream it. Go stream it on NBL One East. And yeah, catch the game. Newcastle, North Bears. It's gonna be a good one.